Upholding the legacy of Chairman McCain, I have to point out to the senator from Alaska that Billy Mitchell was court-martialed.
But I think it was rescinded later.
Also, in connection with the question of nominations, I've recently become aware that there are some 16 vacancies in the Department of Defense at senior levels that haven't been nominated. There's no obstruction of somebody that hasn't been nominated. The failure here in terms of the leadership of the Department of Defense is not with the Congress. We have to have nominated candidates, and as you know, we have a series of vacancies. I can understand your frustration on some other areas, but this isn't one of them where the Congress is causing any slowdown in terms of the filling of these vacancies. General Milley, given the risks that you've articulated and that the National Defense Strategy articulates, I consider your job the second most important in the United States government because we are living in a dangerous world. And your position as principal advisor to the President in a time of heightened international tension and risk is incredibly significant and important. You know what my question's going to be. What is it? Guess what my next question will be.
Probably the same one you asked me when I was nominated to be the chief. Are you going to be intimidated?
That's the question. What's the answer?
Absolutely not, by no one, ever. I'll give my best military advice. It'll be candid, it'll be honest, it'll be rigorous, it'll be thorough, and that's what I'll do every single time.
And I believe that, but I think it's very important to emphasize the Oval Office is an intimidating place. The President of the United States is the most powerful leader in the free world. And to be able to be willing to say, Mr. President, you're wrong about this, or this is the consequences if it's something that he or she doesn't want to hear. It's just, there's no more important responsibility in your career that you will have had to make that statement. I have confidence that you will do that. You said to me 4 years ago, no one intimidates you, and I believe that, but I just want to refresh your recollection on that point.
Senator, and I would say it applies to General Dunford and most of us who've seen a lot of combat. We've buried these soldiers. Arlington is full of our comrades, and we understand absolutely full well the hazards of our chosen profession. And we know what this is about, and we are not going to be intimidated into making stupid decisions. We will give our best military advice regardless of consequences to ourselves.
Thank you, General. That's reassuring, and I have confidence that that's the case. Let's move to a more specific question about Afghanistan. I've been hearing for years on this committee, there was a debate about calendar-based withdrawal and conditions-based withdrawal. What conditions do you see that would justify withdrawal from Afghanistan? When do we call it enough is enough?
I think that the war in Afghanistan, at least American participation in the war in Afghanistan, comes to an end when our interests are met, and I think that'll be met through a negotiated settlement with the Taliban. And I think we're seeing some progress. I think some of that was reported just recently from Ambassador Khalilzad. So I think it is slow, it's painful, it's hard. I've spent a lot of my life in Afghanistan, but I also think it's necessary. We went to Afghanistan for a single purpose, to make sure it never again becomes a platform for a terrorist strike in the United States of America like 9/11. There hasn't been one, and we've been successful to date. It is hard, though, but I think the conditions at the end of the day will be a negotiated settlement with the Taliban.
Do you believe that the continued presence of American forces is a predicate to those successful negotiations?
Absolutely. I think it underwrites those.
So if we pulled out prematurely, it would undermine the possibility of a successful negotiation.
I think pulling out prematurely would be a strategic mistake.
Similar opinion in Iraq and Syria?
Different conditions, different situation. In Syria, we've been very successful and destroyed the geography of the caliphate, the physical entity of the caliphate, the proto-state. But the organization of ISIS, the ideology of ISIS, is not yet fully
still
destroyed.
there.
So there's a modest amount of capability that needs to remain there. And the same thing with Iraq in order to maintain stability in Iraq.
General, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. I don't think there's anyone that I have met in my work here that I have more confidence in the position that you're about to embark upon. Congratulations and thank you.
Thanks, Senator.